I just want to thank you all for coming. And, you know, we are living in solemn times. There is absolutely no question. And I think one of the things that this event does, it really helps to motivate us and hold us accountable, right? We're humans. And our first father and mother, Adam and Eve, fell on the test of appetite. And so we know genetically that we're made up to fall in that same ditch. And we do. And so I want to share with you some healthier ways of doing things that would replace some familiar things in your life. And that's one thing I like to tell people is, what do you enjoy eating? Food. What's your favorite food? Is it pizza? Is it a hot dog? What is it? Papaya is good for you. How can we take these familiar foods and make them more healthy so that you still get that comfort food and you're enjoying it too? And I think we can do that. I have 2 surprises for you today. And I'm not going to tell you what they are until the end of my demo. So you really will have to stick around. Before I get started, I want to introduce my assistant. Actually, I have several assistants, but I'm going to introduce a graduate of our Risen program, our Cencia. Come on up. I love this lady. She faithfully comes to work with us at Bella Vita. She's a graduate of our Natural Hygiene Coach certification program, and I want to encourage you. It is an awesome program to come, right?
Yes.
Talking to this.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's hands-on medical missionary work, all the detoxing, cleansing that Danny's teaches us at Bella Vita, and raw food, and square foot gardening, and so many other modalities you get to learn by coming through our Risen program. So I'm very thankful to have Cencia helping me today, and I have Sandy and Jerry. We were just up at their church recently. Danny and I did a natural healing workshop up there at their church as well. So I'm just very thankful to have these beautiful people and so many familiar faces. You're back up again.
Just keep talking.
Okay, keep talking. All right, so this year I'm going to have some fun because I'm going to introduce some recipes that are a little bit cooked. Little bit. I believe in adding raw to cooked recipes and making them more healthy. And so that's what I'm going to do here. And I have the recipe of recipes today. And I typed this out. I have it for you, but I got to run to Staples. So I will have it for you available back at our booth back there. So you'll be able to get a copy of the recipe. So no worry about writing all this stuff down, except for my first recipe, which is completely made up, but it was just a brainy scanny and it sounded delicious. How about a tropical smoothie? I love to do smoothies, and every day I go out in our garden, our little square foot garden out there at Bella Vita, and I love to pick our chard or lemon balm. I pick the weirdest stuff, mint to throw. I even have thrown in, what's that stuff you rub on your burns? Thank you. Old brain here. Aloe vera. Yeah, I've even thrown in a piece of that. So you can get crazy with this stuff, and it's delicious. So first off, in our raw food kitchen, as we move through, I'm going to introduce this Vitamix as I do every year because I love it. This high-speed blender is fantastic. I have tried the BlendTech, but I tell you, the Vitamix is my favorite because I feel in control right here. Okay, so I like to feel in control there. So what I've done today is I've taken a coconut, and I showed you how to crack one of these things, remember? Whew. Where is my little, show you again. Nope, I can't do that today. But I have a spatula, and what you do with this young coconut is you just take your spatula and you run it in between the nut and the meat here. And if you have one of these spatulas that can bend like this, it's a really good tool to get in between there. And you just run around in there. And then, voila, you can pull out the whole thing as one piece. See that? Wonderful. So this is the young meat from the coconut. And when I look for a coconut, I'd like to make sure that there are no blemishes, bruises, discolorations, mildew, because usually that's a telltale sign. If it's too old, or sometimes you crack it open, it'll be discolored purple, and the juice will be discolored. This one was beautiful juice. So let me just show you what I did earlier. Stuff that back in there. I can't really answer questions right now, folks, but we'll have some questions afterwards off camera maybe, okay? Now here is some water, coconut water, with the meat, as you can see here. And let me show that to our cameraman here. And you really want to strain this so you don't get any of that bark or the hard pieces in there. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to make some coconut milk with this. And we're going to go ahead and put this right in our Vitamix vessel. There we go. Doesn't that look delicious? And if I can have my lovely assistant just handy to one side with a tray, and then I'll hand you dishes as I go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and get this all blended up. Okay, dear. And we always remember to start our Vitamix on low so we don't have a volcano eruption going on here. And I have no power. Oh, joy. It's all good. Okay. I flipped a switch. Maybe that. Nope. I flipped a switch. No power. All right. Let me talk here. We're throwing in here some spinach. Spinach is my green that I'm throwing in this to make it a beautiful green smoothie. And although it has wonderful source of calcium and iron, there is oxalic acid in here that does prevent us from really assimilating the benefits. But hey, you're getting lots of fiber. You're getting the wonderful benefits of this raw and living food. Thank you. Yay! Okay, let's blend up and make our coconut milk. Now you'll notice when I had that meat in there that I wasn't real careful to peel off all the brown. Yeah, a little bit in there. It's okay. Adds a little fiber. I'm not real particular about stuff. Now I'm going to take some of this out because there is a recipe I'm making shortly that's going to use about a cup of this. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of this out for my other recipe. And to this current vessel, we're going to add some wonderful goodness. Since this is a tropical smoothie, I'm going to first add our spinach, and you can see I believe in eating lots of greens. So in the morning, you can knock off those greens, raw greens, by just making a smoothie for yourself. And when I make this in the morning, I'll drink a quart of it. And this is my meal, and it'll keep me until lunch. It's fantastic. So now I'm going to add our pineapple. This is fresh pineapple. And you know what? Some nice ice would be good. And I had meant to tell you that, my dear lady. Maybe one of our other assistants can see if there's any ice back there. I have also some mango. It's a tropical smoothie, so we're going to add some ripe mango. If one of you can see. No ice anywhere in this madness of heat? I'm surprised. Okay, that's all right. It's all good. Now, I have a papaya here. How many of you are familiar with a papaya? Look at those seeds. Isn't it beautiful? It's just, just think God is amazing. So I always ask grocers, get to know your grocery store, your produce managers. I go back there and I ask them, how do I pick out a good one? What do I look for over here? Can you tell me if that tomato is going to be a good tomato? They're always very happy to oblige, and sometimes they'll cut things open and let you taste them so you're not wasting your money. So when you're looking for a papaya, you want it kind of gnarly and old on the outside. They told me that's the best time to buy it, when it's really old on the outside, because then it has the best flavor. So I'm going to take some of this papaya. I'm going to take off a little bit. I guess I could blend up the skin here, but I'm going to go ahead and take this skin off, and then we'll just slice that up in there. Okay. I think that was all I had, and I wanted to add a little zing, anti-inflammatory zing, by adding a little bit of ginger in there. I love ginger. And then I want to add a banana. And this is when I use my bananas, when they're all spotty and old and you think it's time to throw them out. Well, it's not time to throw them out. You just put them right in your smoothie or wrap them in plastic and put them in your freezer for banana ice cream. Oh yes, thank you. And I have some pecans. We're going to get some good omega-3s just by adding a little bit of nuts to this. Okay, I think that's plenty for this vessel. And hopefully I got enough liquid in here. It's going to be a really thick smoothie. We use our plunger. I'm off. Okay. We can please leave the sound going while I'm doing that because sometimes I talk over it. Okay. So we have our beautiful green, luscious smoothie. And again, this is my breakfast. There you go. And to have a little ice in here would make it fantastic and luscious. You could even add, if you wanted to, a little flax oil to it. And doesn't that look lovely? I gotta taste this. Cheers. Very, very delicious. Luscious. Okay, so there you have our tropical smoothie. I'm gonna leave that up there for you guys to see. Now we're gonna go ahead and get cleaned off for our next presentation. And what I have coming to you right now is some raw sauerkraut. We're going to make some sauerkraut together. Okay, let me just take this and I will get this cleaned up. I forgot my vegetable scraper. Let me just... You know what? I love little handy dandy tools, but when you're setting up for demos like this, you don't always remember everything. Guess what I forgot today? My vegetable scraper. I love that thing. All right. Now you will notice in front of this table, I have a big crock. I just recently bought that crock too at Walmart. I needed a sauerkraut crock and I couldn't find one. So I went to Walmart and I found this glass jar. But we're going to make sauerkraut. Now, the stuff you buy in the store is dead. It's soaked in vinegar. It's completely lifeless. But what I'm going to show you today is amazing because it's full of living enzymes, natural probiotic, and it's super simple to make. So what we have here, I love using the purple cabbage. For one, it has that richness of the purple. And you know, with those anthocyanins, those phytochemicals in there that are good for your brain and your memory, which obviously I need a little bit, that this is very healthy for you. I also love the texture of the purple. It's just crunchy. I kind of like my sauerkraut kind of crunchy, not real soft. So I'm going to go ahead and take the core out. What you want to do for your sauerkraut is to go ahead and leave a couple of the larger leaves as a reserve to put on top as your lid. Now there's a couple of ways to do this, and that is you can do it in your food processor with your shredding blade, your slicing blade, or you can use your mandolin. How many of you have seen one of these? This is one of those really handy slicers, and I really like it because I'm able to get a lot done in very little time. So you just want to make sure that you have on a protective glove, and you can run your cabbage across this and get it sliced up in short order, as you can see here. Let me just show you here. Can you see that, everybody? Okay. Now, once you get your cabbage sliced up, you want to go ahead and put it in a bowl. I'm not going to do all of this cabbage for the sake of time here. We're just going to do a little bit of it. If I can have a tray here. that back up there, my little glove. Now, once you get all of your cabbage sliced up, this is so easy to make. Per head of cabbage, you want to use 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm using that Celtic salt, that good salt that has like 91 other minerals in it, one of which is magnesium, gives it kind of a gray color, which actually can help lower your blood pressure, magnesium. So I'm going to add some of this salt to this. And then you want to love on it. You want to work it. And this is how you break it down. Now, this takes some time, but it's a good workout. It's a good workout for the upper body. I tell you what, when I've got a big pot of it, like what you see down there in front of my table. All right, so we're going to work this. And I work it for a few minutes, and then what I do is I cover it like with a towel, and I go away and I let it sit. Because that salt is going to break it down a little bit, and it's going to start to juice up. Once it starts to really juice, that's what you want to see, the juice. Because once it starts to get juicy and very limp, now it could take 15, 20 minutes or more. It all depends on how much you have. I mean, I may use 3 cabbages at a time. So, you know, I've got my big metal bowl out, and I'm doing a lot of it. But with this little amount, I think I'll even be able to show you how quickly that it does juice up. Let me see if I can show you, George. See the juice there? Can you see that, everybody? So you see that juice? That's just with a little bit of cabbage. And then what we're going to do is we're going to press that then down into our crock or our container. And you want to use a glass or ceramic container, and you're going to press it down in there. And then you're going to set your reserved leaves on top. Pour over your cabbage juice water. It should be juicy enough to where the juice comes up and covers the cabbage. If you haven't worked it enough, it may not be juicy enough. You may have to keep working it. If it needs just a tad bit of juice to get it to cover, add a little bit of pure water. But you don't really want to add a lot of water. You want it to be more cabbage juice. And you want to make sure the liquid covers the cabbage. That's going to keep it from getting mildewy and rotten, okay? Because this is a fermented product. This is going to sit out. Now I'm going to have my assistant bring that crock of cabbage up here to show you. All right, so you see it, everybody. See my cabbage? You know this took some time. So what happens here is you can see can you see that liquid? Okay, and then you leave it sit. Now, the old timers, in fact, our cameraman is from a country where they make this stuff, right? They may leave it for 30 days or more. This has not sat 30 days. This has only sat just a few days. I think the longest I've had it sat is 3 weeks. The longer it sits, the tangier it's going to be. Now, you want to make sure your cabbage is setting under that liquid. So back in the old day, they take a big rock and put it on there. What I do is I fill a big mason jar with water and set it on there. And then usually I'll put a pillowcase or something to keep all the little friendly creatures from seeking their homes in this. So this is it. This is our sauerkraut. And you can have a little bit with your salads, a little bit with your food every day, and it's a natural probiotic digestive enzymes full of living, beautiful phytonutrients and very healthful for you. So this is our sauerkraut. Now, keep that in mind because we're going to transition to another wonder, a miracle. And so, Jerry, I'll have you go ahead and put that down. So, remember I said the word hot dog? Yep. Here we go. All right, this is the wonder of wonder recipes. This is epic, okay? This is it. This needs to be given to Michelle Obama. Yeah, this is that epic, okay? And I have a lot of little ingredients here, but I wrote it all down, and I'm going to graciously give it to you for free. Yeah. I'm telling you, when you make this, Hey, I had some meat eaters eat it. I tell you what, they were quite surprised by this amazing thing. All right, I need to switch out my kitchen equipment here, bring back our blender. So we have our Vitamix, and in this case you could use, thank you, you could use any blender would do. All right, this is called a carrot hot dog. Have you ever heard of one of these things? Anybody ever heard of a carrot hot dog? What? Okay, then this truly is epic. All right, here we go. This is amazing. All right, all my colors are kind of looking the same here, so I'll have to remember what's what. Okay, so for this, now I want you to know, this is going to sub out that nasty vegetarian thing. You know what I'm talking about? That thing that could probably be left on your counter for 2 years and never change form. Okay? So this is so superior. In fact, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. When I first made this thing, my husband ate 3 of them. Just loaded them up, stuffed them in his mouth. I said, honey, you just ate 3 hot dogs. He said, they're just carrots. And he's right. Okay. Kids love them. Kids love them. All right, so here we go. I remember what this is. Okay, this is my coconut amino. Now, I like using coconut aminos because it's a raw ingredient. It is not fermented. I love this stuff. It subs out soy sauce. It subs out tamari. It subs out that stuff called Bragg's. I hate to mention labels, but you know what I mean, the excitotoxic thing? Okay, so we're using our coconut aminos. Garlic. We got Italians in our family. We love this stuff. So we're going to throw in our garlic. I have coconut sugar. You don't need to write this down. I'm going to give you the recipe, I promise. I have smoke. And let me show you my smoke that I use. I get it locally at what's the name of that place? Sprouts. I get it at Sprouts. It's pretty inexpensive. And this is going to give it that hickory smoke flavor. This is the secret. I also have some molasses. Now, mind you, I had to taste this to get this right. So that needed the molasses. It was missing something. So I think this is it. So we're going to go ahead and put in our molasses. It also gives it some nice, rich, deep color. There we go. Just blackstrap molasses. Love that stuff. All right. I have a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Needed a tad of that too. And then I had some apple cider vinegar. It really needs this. And I do use this on occasion. You could sub out lemon juice, but I use just a little bit. You know, it's not like I'm drinking copious amounts of this stuff. But even this is with the mother. It's supposed to have some beneficial aspects to it. So we're going to add just a little bit of the apple cider vinegar. And then I have some Celtic salt. You know, the hot dogs are kind of salty. I needed a little more salt. Okay, so we have all that in there, and then we're going to add some water. Now, what we are creating here is an amazing brine. We're going to blend this up. In a matter of moments, we shall have our wonderful, I don't want to say magic, but we're going to have our amazing brine. Want to blend that up to make sure those garlics get nice and blended up. And it gets a little foamy in there. It's okay. All right, we are done. And you know, carrots, an amazing carrot. Beta carotene, the color, the fiber, wonderful food. And we're just going to pour this over our carrots. Now, what I like to do is I like to allow these to sit overnight. They need to at least sit overnight, okay? And once they've done that, the best, leave them sitting more than a night. I'll give all this to you too. Sorry. So, what I'm going to show you here is the finished product. Let me go ahead and clean this up. Now, these will go right in your refrigerator. Cover them up and let those babies sit. And ta-tam, ta-tam, here it is. This is what it looks like. I know. Tell me, come on. Oh, oh. And here is the sauerkraut. So if you like the fixings on it, and I love the fixings, I put the onions on it and the ketchup on it. You know, you got to have that. Every once in a while, you got to do the hot dog thing, right? And so this is it. Look at it. How many of you love sauerkraut? My mom, she was of Irish descent, and we ate plenty of it. She loved sauerkraut. So this is our epic carrot dog. It's amazing. I have a surprise for you. You don't have to mob me this year. It's coming. So just hang on. A wonderful surprise. We're going to have our next recipe. I'm going to move right along into our next recipe. Ooh, this feels good. We're just getting going here. All right, got to switch out my kitchen equipment to our amazing food processor, which I love. My two machines for a raw food kitchen or any kitchen, you got to have a good blender and you've got to have your food processor. All right, how many of you go to Seventh-day Adventist potlucks? Have you ever been to one? Don't they always have that top ramen cabbage salad? Or is it just me when I show up? You know what I'm talking about. Guess what? You don't have to give it up if you really enjoy that thing, which I used to really like that thing, but those noodles aren't the best, are they? So I'm going to teach you something today that's going to be very healthy. So we're going to get our cabbage. We've got carrots for this. And something new that I'm going to introduce to you. We have our sesame oil, some green onions, little cilantro, sliced almonds. You can use a little lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, whichever you choose to do, and a little bit of, gee, I don't remember. It'll come to me. Okay. All right. For this recipe, you could go ahead and use your slicer, your mandolin, or you can use, if you've got your food processor, you can go ahead and put on your slicer blade, and this one is adjustable. Imagine I've had this thing for years, and our daughter Mia just showed me that you can actually adjust the width of your slice. I'm like, oh, thank you, dear. Intelligence. All right, so we're going to put on our slicer, and I'm going to run this cabbage right through here. In fact, I'm going to make it all in here, the carrots, and slice the cabbage to show you how easy this is to put together, because I want you to see how easy this is. Get our bowl here. So I'm going to take our cabbage, and I have a nice Napa cabbage here. Take out the core real quick. See how I'm doing on time here, folks. Okay, I think I'm doing all right. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start this because this one has this big thing that you can lift off and just stick that big chunk in there. Okay? And then you can press it down. See that? So I don't have to cut it in bitty pieces and try to get it through the hole there. You can put the big piece in there. Okay. There we go. And we've got all of our cabbage so quickly done. All right. I like quick and easy, don't you? Amen. Don't want to stay out there in this heat longer than we have to. All right, now we can go ahead and add our grating blade. and go ahead and grate our carrots. Simplistic here. Whew, it's hot up here. It's a little toasty up here. All right, now we have our carrots. There we go. And this is a very colorful cabbage. Cabbage, good for what? Ulcer juice. Cabbage juice, good for ulcers. And now I'm going to go ahead and add some green onions. I'm going to chop those real quick. And if you'll notice, I always like to give a quick knife skill. My knife has contact with the board. And you can see I've got my fingers curled, my tips of my fingers curled under. And pretty much your knuckles are resting up against the side of the blade. And we have our onions just chopped fairly fine, fairly small. And we're going to go ahead and add those. Now this is so easy. I'm going to go ahead and mix up our dressing. Where's that lovely whisk you all gave me? Oh, can you get that for me? They brought me, I said, can you guys get me a whisk? I forgot mine at home. So we're going to make our little dressing in here. Hand me that whisk, dear. I was like, are you kidding me? All right, we'll try this here. All right, so we're going to add our coconut sugar. And we're going to add our lemon juice or apple cider. I have some toasted sesame oil. All right, and then the secret ingredients. Let me just make sure this didn't get on the wrong tray. What is that? I have no clue, so I'm going to leave it out. That's a good idea. I just don't want to lick my fingers in front of all you guys. I'm pretty good about figuring such things out. Not a clue. It's not important. All right. So we're going to go ahead and add our dressing to our beautiful salad. Let me move our colossal whisk here. I'm going to pour this over the top. When you get your recipes, you can let me know what I forgot. All right. Whew, hot. God has blessed us with a cooler weekend. So we added our dressing, and I'm just going to kind of just toss it into my beautiful cabbage here. And I now want to add something that I found that I feel is just amazing. It's called rice ramen. Have you guys seen this? It's put out by Lotus Foods. It comes in whole grains. It'll come like in a brown rice, quinoa, millet, and it looks just like top ramen. The only thing is, you know how you can eat top ramen and it's raw and crunchy? How many of you eat top ramen that's raw? Didn't you used to do that when you were a kid? You can't do that with this because it's really hard and chewy. So what you have to do is you have to go ahead and blanch it for just like a couple minutes. And then you want to run cold water over it. Now, I did mine a few hours ago and it's a little sticky. But then you just want to go ahead and take your noodles and just fluff it into your salad. And I served this the other night, and I think everybody quite enjoyed it. So we're going to toss in those noodles. Now, I like to add some nuts, add a little protein, add some healthy fats, and so I have some sliced almonds that we're adding. Okay, and my plate. We're going to go ahead and put it right there. That looks fantastic. And then what I'd like to do is add a little bit of fresh cilantro on top. And then you can always sprinkle the top with a little fresh sesame seeds there. And there is our salad. I call it an raw Asian top ramen salad. Maybe you can come up with a better name than that, but I just love it. It has that flavor, the toasted sesame oil, and it's delicious. So we're going to clear this off. I'm going to leave this up here, this little packet, so you can see this. Thank you, dear. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to bring up our final recipe, and we can take this monstrosity as well.
Really? Can I have that?
There you go. Okay. Got a little bit of a mess going. All right. I'm going to flip it over to my sweet side from my savory side, and we're going to bring up our sweet dessert at this point. Sister, I'll have you take that. All right. For this recipe, I'm going to use our Vitamix, and while I, Sensia, I'll have you rinse this out because I'll need it for my crust in this recipe. So while she's going to rinse that out, we can go ahead and get started on the filling to this recipe. This is a key lime pie. Key lime pie, and I'm very excited about this. And since she's not quite ready with that, we're going to get started on our filling first rather than our crust. Thank you, dear. And if I could have, oh, there it is. There's the plunger. All right. For this recipe, the base of it is, what do you think might give it the green color? Avocado, that's right. So we're going to tap into those avocados that sometimes get a little ugly, and you don't want to waste them, but we're going to go ahead and use them for this recipe. These happen to be beautiful. So for our recipe, we're going to add some avocado. Now, the recipe I gave you is calling for 1 avocado, but I had 2 really beautiful avocados, so I'm going to use both of them. And many of my recipes are templates. You know what a template is? A template is basically a frame by which you can construct and add things to it. And so in the raw world, if you like to be intuitive in your cooking, you can do that in the raw world as well. This is a raw pie. So we're going to add our avocados. And I love avocados. Oops. And these are beautiful. Nice, healthy fat. And we're going to go ahead and add those in here. All right. Stop with that. Now, for this recipe, it's going to call for some lime juice. So I have some key lime juice we're going to add. Then I have some coconut oil that did not need melting because it's so warm. Look at that. You know, coconut oil is solid typically at room temperature. And a coconut oil, I like to tell people, it's one of those healthier saturated fats because it's a medium chain saturated fat, and they actually say there's benefits to the mind, to the memory. We also have some soaked cashews. And then I also have a little bit of vanilla, some of which was spilt. And then our reserved coconut milk that we had earlier. And we're going to blend this all up nice and smooth. Turn our blender down on low. And it's very green. Okay, and I will need to use my plunger a little bit. We just want to get this nice and smooth. And it doesn't take too long. What a beautiful green color it's turning out to be. Let's take a look. Now, I do have some lime zest that you can certainly add to this if you wanted to. You can also reserve some to sprinkle on top even. So we can add a little lime zest to that, And it's looking pretty smooth. Let it go a little bit longer, I think should do it. All right, I think that's pretty good there. Okay, next I'm going to get started on our crust. One of the most delicious crusts that I've had in the raw world is made with pecans. So I came up with this crust that's kind of reminds me of a graham cracker crust. So what we're going to do here is we have our food processor. And my food processor actually comes with 3 vessels, so I actually have one that's dry, and I'm going to go ahead and use my dry one. It's a little smaller, 11 cup. We're going to put that on here. And then I'm going to use the S blade. And to our crust, we're going to add our pecans. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add just a dash of the salt. And I'm going to go ahead and just process the pecans first before I add the binder of the date paste. All right, so we have our processed pecans, if you can see that. Got a good look at that? They're nice and crumbly. We don't want them to go too long, they'll turn to butter. It's a very soft nut. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the date paste and try to get it on there distributed somewhat evenly, I should say, throughout the vessel. Let me just show you what that looks like real quick. There you go. I heard a question about date paste. Basically, you take your dates, you can soak them, or if they're really soft medjool dates, which I love using the big soft sweet medjool dates, that I can just blend them with a little water and it makes a nice thick date paste. Now we're going to process this so it kind of comes together like a ball of dough. Okay, there we go. I see it kind of balling up a bit, and that's the look I want to have. And as you can see, when I grab some of it and I press it together, see the nice ball of dough that it makes nice and sticky. So this is going to be pressed down into our pie plate. So I just have a typical pie plate here, a 9-inch pie plate, and I'm going to go ahead and press this down in there. There we go. Thank you. Now I have my little offset spatula to give me some help here in case it's really sticky. I love this crust. This is a super healthy crust and it has a very good flavor. And just use your hands to press it in there. You kind of want to give it a little crust along the sides, little side to it, and bring it up to the sides of the pie plate. Doesn't it look delicious already? Okay, so we can just kind of go along here. And this is a beautiful crust. You could use this for other desserts as well. I've made another cheesecake kind of pie, lemon cheesecake, using this crust. You can put raisins in it, would be good as well. So we just want to go around the sides and give it a nice even border to the sides of our pie plate. And just press it on down in there. Well, I think that's pretty good. Let me show you. You can see that? Yeah. There we go. All right, and now we have our beautiful filling here. Wipe those off. It's pretty sticky. Okay, so we'll take our key lime filling. You see that? The color? It's a real pretty color. We're just going to pour that into our pie plate. I think it's beautiful. Now, when you guys look at my recipes, if I missed anything up here, it will definitely show on my recipe because I'm walking back through this in my mind and I feel like I've missed something. But as you can see, it's a beautiful pie. Got a picture of that? All right. That's all, Sandy. Okay. All right. So this year, I really don't want to be mobbed. You know what you guys do? You mob me. So I've been working very diligently. And I've prepared samples of all of these. And they're back at our smoothie bar. So it's kind of on a first come, first basis. It is a paid thing because I have a whole dog. I mean, these aren't little... These are like the real deal. I've got salad back there. I made up the key lime pies. Also back at the smoothie bar, I have nachos with a nacho cheese sauce. What else do I have? Chia pudding. But you will be able to taste everything that I've got up here. Real quickly, I've got some dehydrated items. I like to mention the dehydrator only because I love it so much. Dehydrated apples and even tomatoes that you can do in here. Now, before I close, I wanted to talk to you about what we're doing with children, because I've been bringing to you how we have a children's book we're working on, and as Danny and I travel and we do our natural healing workshops, many of the times when he's educating the adults, I'm educating the children. And up until this time, I've been using a program through Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. And they're a secular outfit doing a great work, but it was missing some elements that I wanted for the children's program, mainly spiritual, and our 8 laws of health. So I've developed a book, and if we can have our guys back there, just going to show you a couple of the pages from our book. And if you guys are ready, so this is our children's activity book. And this has in it a RAINBOWS acronym, and instead of New Start, it's rainbows: rest, activity, in control, nutrition, believe, oxygen, water, sunshine. So this is our front cover of our book. If we can put it on slideshow. Okay, thank you. So as you can see, I play on the word eat more rainbows. And so not only are you eating your colors and getting those phytonutrients, but you're also rest, activity, in control, nutrition, believe, oxygen, water, sunshine. So in this book, we're teaching them in control, you know, gratitude versus batitude, and teaching the children just how these apply to them. And one of the things that I've done throughout this book is we have what we call a little narrator. He's a cell called Joe. And Joe talks about food and how these things affect him on a cellular level. So we can go to the next page. And as you can see, there's activities, there's experiments for the children. Go ahead. Getting grounded. You all know I love to go barefoot, okay? We talk about grounding, earthing, where the earth is actually a huge resource of free electrons. And as we take our shoes off and walk barefoot, it reduces inflammation. It evens out those positive emissions by canceling them out with those negative electrons. So we teach children the benefits of going barefoot. And we also have raw recipes in there, so the kids can really get hands-on, some delicious raw recipes, and get involved in the kitchen. Go ahead. This is my nutrition chapter, and you can see we're talking again about colors. High-octane fuel. Our plant foods are like high-octane fuel for our body, whereas those French fries that you saw, that is low-octane. We have puzzles, crossword puzzles, areas for them to draw pictures. That's a phyto wheel. teaching them the benefits of the colors and how the colors benefit them. We have amazing facts on there. Did you know that your body makes 10,000 gallons of saliva in a lifetime? Did you know that? Okay, go ahead. And then again, we have our raw recipes, all right? Here's the oxygen page. See, I tried to weave in there the gospel message. They get it. They get the Sabbath. They get the righteousness by faith. They get the 8 laws of health, raw recipes, and of course, our hygienic message on a kid level. Little mazes, puzzles. Go ahead. Raw recipes again. And that's me teaching a class up at our church in Southgate. We have a room there that I call the rainbow room, but we have little aprons and chef hats for the kids, and it's a lot of fun. If you would like us to come to your church, just write me. I've got a proposal that I can send you. We'd love to do children's programs in your community. Looking to do children's culinary classes. I'd like to see some of you women that have an interest that would like to use this as a curriculum to be able to train children and teach classes. Little cottage industry for you. There's plenty of work. Jesus is coming. He's coming soon. And it's high time that we started applying these things. And they're easy to do, as you can see. Now you guys can all mob the smoothie bar, because I'm done. Thank you.